Hello, and thank you so much for joining me for your Smackdown post show for June 13th. Lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. A lot of yapping on tonight's show, but some good in ring advancement as well on the King and Queen of the Ring tournament side. Plenty to get through. Still firmly of the belief that this should be a 2-hour show, but we're going to talk about it all. Get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. I am solo this time, but I, unlike last week, expected to be solo this time. So I'm all right with that. Sean Ross Sapp was at the taping today. So he said he might chime in if he can a little bit later with some live experience notes to check out. But I'm all alone otherwise, but I'm all right with that. I've got you guys to keep me company tonight. We had some fun scoops on Fightful Select this week. Plenty to talk about over there, but what more? Guys, wrestling updates, contract news, whatever, all great. American Gladiator updates. $5.99 for American Gladiator updates. Let's go. Let's go. I was so excited to see what was going down there. Camille and Wardlow and Rick Boogs and a couple of other wrestlers involved. J-Rod, who's fantastic on the independents, super cut out for something like this. Sounds like a really, really, really fun way to go about business there. So some good stuff, but let's get into it all. Send in your super chats and humper chats. Please do leave a thumbs up on this video. That helps us a great deal. And of course, subscribe. I think we're right around 180,000 subscribers, which is nuts. So yeah, please support us any way that you feel suited. But let's get into this episode of SmackDown. Let's talk about the big thing that was kind of the storyline that was hanging over this entire episode, right? On Monday, John Cena challenged CM Punk to a match in Saudi Arabia, and there were a lot of people who were upset about it. I'm not even going to say mixed reactions, because there were people who were like, okay. And then there were people that were very upset. I was on the very upset side. And that didn't so much get qualmed today, but let's dig into all of it. We have John Cena opening the show. I should mention too, before we even get into the show, that on a dark match, Hikuleo debuted. So that's cool. He's been on the bench for over a year now. So it sounds like they actually do sign people and bench them right away. But very, very glad to see him doing literally anything. I really was having a fun time watching him in New Japan with ELP. They had this very it turned ELP into the next level of like a Shawn Michaels-y kind of guy. And I thought it was a really fun dynamic for a tag team. So when he left to WWE, I thought this would be really great for Hikuleo. There's so many possibilities of what he could do and where he could go, and they've just done nothing with him. Absolutely nothing with him. So excited that he finally got some, main event shine, dark match shine, whatever. But he did something after us poking him with a stick for a really long time. Hikuleo is finally doing something. So that is good to see. But John Cena opened the show and calls himself a genius, essentially, and says that everything that has happened so far was all a part of his master plan. And man, am I just not buying any of this. This wasn't even a poorly delivered promo, and the substance wasn't bad, but I just they have booted this John Cena heel turn possibly to beyond repair for me. But he says, from everything that happened with R-Truth to sidestepping Cody, he's remaining one step ahead. He knows Seth Rollins won't cash in on him because Seth wants Cena to leave as a champion so he can be the only title holder in WWE. And we have Cody Rhodes interrupting, arguing that Cena doesn't control the story after Cody pinned him at Money in the Bank. And Cody claimed that Cena is now a part of his plan. So plan on plan inception, I guess. Randy Orton came out. He said that he had Cena beat at Backlash, but would do whatever it could take to reclaim his 15th title, even if it means going through Cody. And LA Knight added that Cena never accounted for him, and he warned everyone in the ring that he's an outlier with nothing to lose and everything to gain. I got. We're going to talk about this specific part later because Carmelo Hayes had his shoulders pinned to the mat again. But begging them to do something with somebody that's not A, already a top star, and B, under like 37 years old outside of Braun Breaker on the men's side. It's insane to me how they have John Cena's heel turn on his last run, his retirement run, and they were like, you know what we're going to do? Literally nothing productive. We're going to have him face Randy Orton, which, like, I get playing the hits, don't get me wrong, and I get the power of nostalgia, but to include nobody that could be a young future star in any of this so far is some straight up BS. I'm sorry, but like, you have John Cena as a heel on his last run. He could make a baby face of the future. No, we're going to have Randy Orton trot out here again. We're going to have LA Knight, God bless him. He's been in Money in the Bank 3 times and not won. He had a really good US title run. I don't feel like they're positioning LA Knight to beat John Cena at any point in any of this. And Cody Rhodes, the story seems pretty obvious. I think Cody Rhodes lures him back over to the good guy side. But I said it last week and I feel the same this week. They really, really revisited Cena and Cody being on screen again way too soon. And I know these dates are dwindling for John Cena, but he doesn't even feel like a dominant champion yet because he's beat R-Truth and Randy Orton. And he's needed help to do it. Like, it's, man, not great. Not great. What was said wasn't bad. And I've been trying to be patient with it because I feel like obviously it felt like something was going to happen with John Cena and The Rock, and then it just didn't. And so we were all left wondering, like, okay, what's the creative direction then? And so I was trying to have patience to like give it a minute to reset, and their direction is they don't have one. They don't have one. They're just gonna you people it and this, I guess, for the remaining time. But later we have Cena looking for Jimmy Uso to find truth, because I should say Ron Killings, not R-Truth anymore. After this opening segment, Ron Killings jumps Cena on the ramp and lands some punches. Good to see them circling back to it. Warranted after what happened at Money in the Bank, right? So I'm glad that they're continuing that. I think John Cena probably squashes Ron Killings, and then like that just sends him down a path of very serious violence. But later we see Cena seeking out Jimmy Uso to find truth and eventually heads back to the ring. But CM Punk comes out, who I don't believe was announced for the show. So a nice surprise for the live audience. And I hate everything that they're doing with it, unfortunately. But Punk offers Cena a chance to walk away and be celebrated and give people the happy ending that they want. And Cena rejects that, saying the fans and the city and everything that isn't the title is irrelevant. And Punk responded by saying that Cena could never beat him even at his best, and basically accuses him of co-opting Punk's greatest hits and all of this, right? And he promised to follow Cena to Mars or to hell if it was necessary to prove his point. Cena had said he goaded CM Punk into having to admit he was a hypocrite if he wanted that title. That was all a part of his master plan. And I think pointing out the very real life hypocrisy of something that has to do with human rights isn't a heel move. How is that a heel move? Can someone explain that to me? How that's a heel move? Calling Punk a hypocrite because he's a face, as like a get under your skin thing, I guess is a heel move, but he's just flat out right. And a lot of the people that were CM Punk fans agree with him. I don't know, man. And I don't there are some people that are like, Seth Rollins is going to take him out. He's not going to Saudi Arabia. It's a disgusting promotional tactic then. Because basically you've told the fans then that they don't deserve this match. And this isn't the fans' fault. This is WWE's fault for taking money from the government, I think is what most people have exception with, right? I think a lot of people feel like the citizens of Saudi Arabia and the fans deserve to see marquee matches and all of these wonderful moments in their country. But the reasons that CM Punk was objecting to going to Saudi Arabia don't have to do with them. So whether it's a promotional tactic that's disgusting or Punk really goes, this sucks. Sorry. It sucks. I had a very real emotional connection to CM Punk in that I felt very authentically inspired by him at a very important time in my life, in my adolescence, in the same way that art from a musician can inspire you or something like that. I felt very inspired by his Best in the World run and the punk rockness of it all, the PMA of it all, the DIY of it all. I really liked all of that and I felt inspired by that at that time. So to see the continual hypocrisy of a guy named CM Punk supports an ecosystem, whether like he goes and donates the money or whatever, like I saw people hypothesizing that too. If he goes and participates in an ecosystem where the government has been paying WWE to run their 2030 Saudi Vision propaganda realistically, I'm over it. I'm done with it. Because at the same time in 2024, this government executed a record high of its own citizens. So I don't care. I don't care if he doesn't go. I don't care if he donates the money. I don't care if he does go. It feels to me like the same CM Punk that gave WWE its balls back in 2011 now have taken his away. So I don't care about any of this. And on top of that, I think the creative is bad. I think the creative's really bad. I don't think CM Punk, like, being the catchphrase babyface sucks. It's not, boy, it's great to be alive. He was never that. When he's a really good babyface, he's not doing that nonsense. John Cena, give them a happy ending. That's not the babyface that CM Punk is. Like, where is the fire from him on that side? I really genuinely feel like if CM Punk was the one to have turned, this would be so much better. If The Rock got CM Punk to turn, because CM Punk kept losing every type of qualifier they had, right? If he lost Elimination Chamber, if he lost Royal Rumble, if he lost all of these other devices to get him a world title shot, and the one thing that he never did in his WWE career was sell out to The Rock, and he did that, heel CM Punk on this run would be so much better. And you could have just had John Cena babyface, Cody Rhodes babyface. Like, looking in a mirror feud. Passing the baton kind of thing. But can Cody really do it? Could he be what I was for that long? Would have been so much better. So much better. Instead, we have this. So that happened. Punk left in that segment. Truth returned and locked Cena in the STFU. Punk was standing on the ramp and we closed with The Truth Hurts. So I'm very happy for Ron Killings to get this run after not only the past week, but And not only after such a storied career, but I was listening back to R-Truth, Ron Killing's interview with Sean. He was talking about coming back from that quad injury, and he had a setback because it got infected, and it caused like a hole in his knee. And sometimes I think we don't forget. I think we do forget like those aspects of things, right? Like, the sacrifices that go into it. And he did that in his 50s. He came back from that injury in his 50s, man. Like, that dude loves this. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited that he gets to have this. And honestly, I hate to say it, but like John Cena glorified squashing him and that just setting him off on some kind of violent rampage, I think would be a really effective use of both of their time. Orion Ben saying Marathon Bangs, hardest working $5.99 in the show. I'm happy to be here. I like talking wrestling with you guys. It's fun. And last week the solo show did all right. It did all right on views, did all right on chats. So thank you guys for supporting it, because I've gotten more comfortable with them, but they're always a little weird because you're kind of just talking to yourself over here. But I've got all of you. I've got all of you hanging out. We did later get an interaction between Cody and Punk, like, hey, who's going to be chasing who one of these days? Because one of us is going to get to John Cena eventually. I'm sure that match will happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it was for a world title. Would not be surprised if it was for a world title. So that was kind of all of that stuff. Not a fan of the angle, not a fan of the creative within all of the socio-political aspects and hypocrisy of it at all. Like, it just, you have Cena and you have Punk, and this is what you're giving us? Like, oh man. If you had told me like a year ago even, you're going to have a heel Cena and a face CM Punk, and they're going to run this back, the idea that I would feel lukewarm going into it is bananas. That match meant everything to me. That match is like why I'm still a wrestling fan. I had one foot out the door on wrestling until the pipe bomb hit, because it was just watching John Cena beat all my faves. Because when I got into wrestling, I immediately gravitated to heels. So I got really like annoyed because it was just John Cena beating all my faves. And then the pipe bomb happened, and I wasn't watching when like Stone Cold was around. Like, I had not seen a kind of work shoot style thing before, and it immediately grabbed me. And that match was like the pinnacle of wrestling to me as a wrestling fan. And to be revisiting it and feeling lukewarm about it kind of stinks. I wish it was happening somewhere else, and I wish the characters going into it were stronger. And I wish they were. We've got some time too. I'm sure they'll dig into it more. But like on Monday, we got some of the like the references to "You've Become the New York Yankees" and all that kind of stuff. But like, I feel like they could do a better job of digging into who they've been in addition to who they are now. Let's keep moving along here. We do have Truth asking Nick Aldis for a match with Cena next week, and Nick Aldis agrees. He did that right to his face, not via FaceTime like we see Chelsea Green later in the night, but we will get there. Let's go to our first King of the Ring match, which is Randy Orton versus LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes versus Aleister Black. Randy Orton wins after RKOing Carmelo Hayes in midair, which is always cool. LA Knight couldn't take the pin. Aleister Black couldn't take the pin. Like, you couldn't have found a way to make those work with Randy Orton. What are you doing with Carmelo Hayes? What are you doing? He was a #1 draft pick. He was the coolest guy. Braun Breaker was awesome at NXT, don't get me wrong. But if you had pointed at them both and said which one's going to be like a bigger star, Carmelo Hayes, hands down. He's like a mini Shawn Michaels, but modern day. What on earth are we doing having this guy's shoulders to the mat this often? Why was he palling around with The Miz? I guess that's just done. Why is he taking pins in fatal four-ways? Why are you not using this tournament to build new talent for the future? Why is it just the same guys being run back over and over and over again? Like, man, the match was fun. The match was fun. There were some really great aerial exchanges with Hayes and Black in this. They're obviously continuing their feud, so it's not like either of them I was expecting to win here, but man, they just got Carmelo taking so many pins. I don't understand how this kid's supposed to get any momentum at all. You had Knight hitting a diving dropkick on Hayes and threw him into the announce table, which was pretty good. Orton with a really nice release back suplex onto Black onto the table in this. Carmelo Hayes with a great frog splash, but what are you going to do? Later, you had interference from Bronson Reed and Breaker, who took a night out. Okay. All right. Shock. Interference. I'm stunned, truly. Randy Orton winning isn't a surprise. The match was really good. Find a way to do something with Carmelo Hayes, because you are wasting his potential and your audience's time. By the time it's ready to heat him up, like, what are you going to be doing with him? Bad Robot saying, hello, favorite post show. Kate's solo run is better than SRS, who ran from the grind Wednesday. I'm bummed on the Punk situation and honestly not looking forward to Rumble. Love the talent, but yeesh this business. It was a big yeesh this business couple of days this week. For sure. And thank you for the nice words, putting me over SRS. I appreciate that. And full transparency, he did not run from the grind Wednesday. I offered him a way out of the grind. I said he had an early flight on Thursday and some business for Fightful to take care of on that flight. So I offered. I appreciate that he showed up at all, because those were some late nights. But I appreciate the chat. Thank you so much. Joel saying, some money's for a great post show. Appreciate you, Kate. I don't watch SmackDown, so I learned from you. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Also, Punk has become everything he swore he wasn't. Sure feels that way. From somebody who felt bought into the things he had previously said. There's very few things he hasn't gone back on, except for being straight edge that we know of, which might be the most important one to a lot of people, which is fair. But I had kind of said on Monday, I was upset about it. And I had said, one, they say, like, don't be your childhood heroes. The heroes that hurt you, that were your heroes in adolescence, hurt way more. Because that's such an important formative passage of your life, right? But I had also said, like, I was a young adult when I felt like I was resonating with him so strongly. And then as you evolve more in adulthood, you start to care about different things. And I kind of always felt like he was on a similar or the same side of world issues that I was on. And so to have someone go back on that like hurts the adult fan and the adolescent fan, which is not a great feeling. It's not a great feeling, but I appreciate your chat. I know I was not alone in feeling that way. There were people very upset. And I understand. I certainly understand it. But let's keep moving through this episode of SmackDown. We do have our Queen of the Ring Fatal 4-Way with Jade Cargill, Nia Jax, Michin, and Piper Niven. No surprise here. Jade Cargill winning via pinfall, hitting that. We had Piper hitting the Vader bomb on Michin, but Jade returning and hitting the Jaded on Piper for the win, which was good stuff. Man, I love watching Piper work. She's such a special talent. There was one point where she just rammed Nia Jax through a barricade, and I was like, this woman rules. Jade had a nice tilt-a-whirl backbreaker on Michin in this. And Michin had a really nice acai moonsault. So they all got to show out in some fashion or another. Nia and Piper kind of briefly teamed up and hit Jade with a double corner attack and a cannonball senton, which made Jade look super strong. That the two of them felt like they had to kind of use some double team maneuvers on that, right? I was glad to see Michin get to show out. Sincerely, I know there's a lot of fun between Fightful, mostly between Sean and Michin, but I think she's maybe the most underrated wrestler in all of WWE. Candice LeRae, who was in a match later, could certainly be on that list, but she's always doing something really creative. She's a fantastic counter wrestler. I say that all the time. I just, man, they had the dumpster match and the US title matches, and they didn't really have a ton lined up for her. And then we have this alliance with BFAP, so maybe we'll continue down that route and get this women's tag division some more teams that are competitive. But I think she's underutilized, and I think tonight she showed out. I thought she looked really great in this. And she added something different to that match too. It was like 3 powerhouses and someone who was not as much of a powerhouse, right? So good to see her in action. Good to see her in action. But Jade winning, no surprise there. Let me know what you think in the chat. Because I think Jade beats Tiffany Stratton and Naomi immediately cashes in and beats Jade. I like that because I don't want Naomi to be the first unsuccessful cash in. And I think Jade adding a world title reign that's like 5 minutes to her collection isn't the worst idea. Because I think she still has some in-ring consistency to work on before she becomes like a champion. But Naomi's ready, and it's Naomi's time. The only thing with that is where does Bianca fit into all that? Because she still feels very much a part of the story. Some fun stuff there. You did have Chelsea piping in on FaceTime, which was very, very fun to arrange things in her favor as best she could. She maximizes her minutes even when she's not there. She's an incredible talent. Aubrey and Dad Talk Wrestling saying, "Hi, Kate. We were confused about the Chelsea thing, but glad Alexa won. Thanks for breaking this show down for us. We feel your pain about Punk." I've been getting a lot of that. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel a little less alone in certain ways and a little less like a nerd in others, of like, why are you buying into any wrestler's words? Why are you believing anybody in this industry when they say things? The best wrestlers are the best liars, right? Brutal. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Let's talk about that match, actually. Let's cook along with that. Let me know what you think about Naomi cashing in, too. We're going to talk about that momentarily. But Charlotte and Alexa and Alba Fire versus Candice LeRae. They're all facing each other. That made it sound like it was 3-on-1. I don't know why I did that. But this was a surprising result for me. I thought for sure they were going to head to a Jade and Charlotte match because they've been teasing that so heavily. So I thought Charlotte was going to win. But I liked this ending sequence. You had Bliss countering a pin attempt into the Sister Abigail DDT on Candice to get the win. And you had Charlotte hitting the spear on Candice earlier and locking in the figure 8. But Candice breaking things up with a moonsault. Candice couldn't have broken up her own moonsault. What did I write in my notes? Anyway, that was wrong. But the ending was not wrong. The ending was awesome. That was a lot of fun. I liked the layout of this match a lot. I like them advancing whatever's going on between Charlotte and Alexa, because I feel like Charlotte would be a prime target for what the Wyatt Six are doing. So if she's back in the Wyatt Six, it would be really cool to see that faction kind of going after Charlotte. I think that could be a cool character move for Charlotte and really refreshing, because way back when this faction was established, I remember Alex Pulaski and I were reviewing things, and he said it really well, that like he thought, and I agree, the Wyatt Six being a faction that takes people in, doesn't win a lot of belts, doesn't whatever, but like when you're done with the Wyatt Six, the version of who you entered that feud with is not the same person as you left. Like you got chewed up and spit out, and now you are a different version of that. And I feel like that would be a really, really good call. A really good call. So this would be a cool way to kickstart that. I think that could be really fun, but good layout for this match. Nice Tower of Doom spot with Bliss at the base, taking out all three of them. Some good stuff. Some good stuff here. Charlotte doing some cool power moves in this. She got her big boots in. They have good layouts for multi-person matches, which is good because they use them constantly. And you had Charlotte not taking the pin here, right? So it's not like she lost, but she's annoyed with Alexa, right? So I like that they are continuing with Alexa's momentum and continuing the underlying story there. For sure. Mike Shutt saying the story seemed like both Money in the Bank winners should be cashing in at SummerSlam. I can't see them both doing it on the same show. Well, Mike Shutt, the only place that titles changed hands last year was on SummerSlam. So I wouldn't be totally surprised if that was the case. I could see them now that we have this thing with Gunther being the champion instead of Jay. It feels like if you want to recreate the Seth Rollins cash-in moment, you have a Jay Gunther match going on. Or I'm sorry, you have a Gunther Sammy match going on, and Seth goes to cash in and make it a triple threat and win. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. And it stymies Sami Zayn, who they've been building a lot of this around. Gunther doesn't really have to lose too much in that. Like he doesn't look too much worse for the wear. So I think that's a good way to go. Jey Uso being in King of the Ring, who knows? I think it's a very dumb decision to put the title back on Gunther if it's just for a Goldberg program. I feel like you did cut the legs out from under Jay. I'm not as heated about it as Rikishi was. I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't know if you guys saw Rikishi out here calling for people's jobs behind that title reign. My goodness, but he felt like 51 days was shortchanged. And I just figured on Monday, if Jay wasn't walking out champion, Seth was. Like, Seth cashing in on this beloved babyface makes a whole lot of sense to me. Guys, get in your super chats and humper chats. Leave a thumbs up on this video, and I'll tell you what has me leaving thumbs ups all over the place. It's NordVPN, because they save us a ton of money, and they save you guys a ton of money. And sometimes you guys like tweet at them about us or tweet about how they're saving you money, and you leave comments in the chat, and then it's like, we're happy, Nord's happy, you're happy, everybody's winning when you subscribe to NordVPN and use the code FIGHTFUL.
If you aren't watching wrestling with NordVPN.com/Fightful, you are not watching wrestling in the best way. I know times are tough. Money is tight. NordVPN.com/Fightful can eliminate your cable bill if you just watch wrestling. You can watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and PLEs on Netflix by changing your virtual location with just one click. You can watch pay-per-views at a much more affordable price when you change that virtual location and get the prices they're getting overseas. In addition, all the wonderful features that we haven't even mentioned. But right now, you save big. 4 extra months free and a 30-day money-back guarantee when you use NordVPN.com/Fightful. NordVPN.com/Fightful. By the end of this subscription, you're going to be saving money. NordVPN.com/Fightful.
Oh my goodness, with all that money that you're going to be saving with NordVPN, you can go over to Fightful Select and subscribe. I can't emphasize enough, guys. Like, there's all these wrestling scoops. You get me and Alex Pulaski doing alternative post shows. You get the Discord. You get Sean's Q&As. There's so much value there. But guys, American Gladiator scoops. American Gladiators. Man, I talk about like nostalgia things. I so often remember the cadence of a weekend, including going downstairs and sometimes morning cartoons. I was a late sleeper though, still am. But having like morning breakfast, and I feel like it was playing Barbies and then watching American Gladiators. My sister and I were very well-rounded, obviously. But we had our Barbies in the Barbie room. We weren't locked and loaded with everything that the kids have today, okay? We were filling up pots with handles to use as diving boards, as pools. We were creative over there. But then we would watch our American Gladiators. The little metal cages that go over the little steam oh man. American Gladiators, battle bots. I've been into adjacent wrestling for a very long time in my life. If you guys haven't seen like the Netflix docuseries about American Gladiators, it wasn't all red, white, and blue and stars and stripes and happiness, okay? There was some darkness there. The joust ruled. The joust was always my thing. I loved that. Had a good time. It was like if Nickelodeon Guts grew up. You know what I mean? We had some good times. Guys, get in your super chats and humper chats. We are going to keep working through this episode of Smackdown. You're not fond of The Miz as a host. I feel like The Miz will do a good job. I think he knows the assignment. Well, speaking of people that know the assignment, Jacob Fatu says, I hate you, Solo, at Money in the Bank. Some good stuff. We have him finally turning on Solo. He comes to the ring and addresses his actions at Money in the Bank, turning on Solo. He accuses Solo of basically kind of taking credit for his success and saying that being part of the same bloodline doesn't excuse betrayal, which I like that piece of business, as the kids say, because it's the first thing that says, like, sometimes there's something bigger than being family of anybody in the bloodline. Like, it's always gone the other way, I feel like, for the most part, of like family always ends up bringing it back together, and Jacob very early was like, nah. And then we get this video from Solo looking like a mob boss. Leaning into his personality has been such a refreshing change of pace of late. I'm so excited about it. He's doing way, way, way better work now that he's not just like, I stand stoically and I say things. And I think people forget, like, Roman had that too. Roman had some zingers, and he has comedic timing, and he has some humor, especially when Sami Zayn was there, right? He needed that. And so if he's going to be like the Roman of his group, I feel like he should have those qualities. Plus, just lean into it if you got it, right? But Jeff Cobb just looking like Terminator in the back. JC Mateo just mean mugged with the things over his eye. Incredibly. The Cobbinator. When I say it in that accent, it sounds like I'm saying like the carburetor or something. Like, but man, fun stuff. And Solo says he's the one that made Fatu a star and invites him back into the family, very a la Roman, and says, but Jacob Fatu has to tell him he loves him. and Fatu didn't respond, and he just walks off. So I'm assuming we're getting a confrontation next week. I think enough with this I love you stuff. I guess they can't kiss because they're family members, but I love you's not enough anymore. They've gone to that well too many times. There needs to be something bigger. What's bigger than I love you? Let me know. But we get a Naomi and Tiffany Stratton showdown. If you didn't have a chance to see it and you are not a nerd that takes things way too seriously, Tiffany Stratton just airmailing the first pitch at the Mets game was very funny to me. And if you can enjoy something silly without being extremely weird and using that as a way to bury Tiffany Stratton, I would recommend going and looking at it. It was very funny. Very a la 50 Cent trying to throw out the first pitch. Both of them Mets games. What is in the water with the New York Mets that their celebrity first pitches go airmailing? I mean, like, could be in the Yankees bullpen anyway, but what's going on? It feels like a bad omen for the Mets. They're World Series contenders this year, and I feel like, I don't know. But after Jade's win, we get Naomi. She was shown watching backstage and looked pissed that Jade won, which was good. Her whole aesthetic is so great. Like the switching character from Feel the Glow to coffin tape it's been great, and she's embodied everything that she has set out to be with this character. Orion Ben saying the baseball hit SRS in the stands tonight. Well, let me tell you something. Your girl over here hooked up SRS with a first pitch opportunity for the Lexington Legends, and his was better than Tiffany's. Okay, I didn't get to see video, but I did see some photos, and he did better than Tiffany Stratton. He did better than Tiffany Stratton. He's a Lexington legend. But later in the night, we have Naomi cutting a promo saying that she had earned her spot and was targeting Tiffany Stratton for the women's championship. So she zoned in on keeping this on the SmackDown side. And Tiffany comes out and challenged her to cash in right now. Let's go. You want to fight? Let's fight, says Tiffany Stratton. So I like that. Her confidence unshaken after her first pitch incident. But Naomi says, nope, she's going to strike when the time is right, as heels should when they have the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then Nia Jax attacks Tiffany from behind. Naomi turns to ringside and causes a distraction, which allows Nia to hit the Annihilator on Tiffany. So there you go. I guess the only thing we have for Tiffany Stratton is continuing to fight Nia Jax. The rematches in this company, man, exhaustive. Jay and Gunther, Tiffany and Nia, like, they just don't move on from stuff. But we'll move along. I don't think Tiffany's going to be champ for much longer. I think that winding up the Nia stuff is going to probably be the last major feud until she has her Queen of the Ring opponent against her. Guys, get in your super chats and humper chats. Leave a thumbs up here. We could use the love. We appreciate it. A weird second weekend in a row where we don't have wrestling that we're reviewing on Fightful, but you can stay tuned for Grapsody, and Collision is obviously has been taped before. That was a part of that marathon show. So it's very weird. It's very weird when we have nothing to review for an entire weekend on Fightful. That's the point we're at, but definitely going to be a busy wrestling rest of the summer. So stay tuned over here, but some good stuff. Keep on rocking in the tag team picture. The Motor City Machine Guns are the first victims here of Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis. The Wyatt faction has obviously has them backed up, and Lumis and Gacy just controlled a ton of this. I'm not sure. Motor City Machine Guns hasn't felt like the legends they are. And this doesn't help that. I don't know if they're expected to, if that makes sense. Like, they might be here to be a really great tag team that helps this division along, but isn't kind of going to be positioned as a top tag team forever. And I know they came in and they won the title super soon, but they just haven't really felt like as important and historic of a tag team as they are. But them being fed to Gacy and Loomis, I think makes sense because they're going to kind of chew their way to the Street Profits, I think. So they had to start somewhere. You have Gacy with a hit a backbreaker at a lion salt on Sabin that looked really good in here. Stereo dives to the outside was a nice little like babyface comeback that we had kind of here, but Loomis hitting that top rope leg drop on Sabin gets the win after breaking up the Skull and Bones attempt. Kind of ironic that they have the Skull and Bones and they're facing this creepy team over here, but this match goes, short of 10 minutes. It's fine. It's nice to see these guys back. I have mixed feelings on them targeting the tag division because I feel like the tag division needs some gusto, but I feel like the Street Profits just won not that long ago and they deserve a really substantive reign. And I feel like the Smackdown tag division is awesome. The Raw tag division needs a ton of help because it's just like the New Day and the LWO and nobody else. So I don't know. Very odd. But I like that. I feel like the Wyatt Six are an important act. So if they're being put behind something, like that means there'll be a focus on it. What does Nikki Cross do? That's what I want to know. Because I feel like she was kind of the standout in all of this. And I feel like she should be wrestling. She's a damn good wrestler. I want more Nikki Cross on my screen. Let's keep moving along. My goodness, we're at our final segment. Time flies when you're flying solo over here. I'm actually kind of surprised Sean didn't join us. Maybe he will in these kind of closing minutes. But one thing about SRS is he's a big proponent of the Irish goodbye. So if you think he was sticking around to talk to friends, he wasn't. All right. That guy is like cut and run at these events. He also had a travel day back. So he had left Thursday and then come back today. So long day for that dude. But let's talk about this final four-way that we got. Not surprising in the result here. I was surprised by the Alexa one. I'm not at all surprised by Cody Rhodes hitting the crossroads on Damian Priest to score the win. Nice to see Nakamura in this. Nice to see Andrade in this. We did have that final backstage segment that I had noted earlier where Rhodes ran into Punk and they just kind of acknowledged that they're on a collision course, right? That they're going to be facing each other. Who's chasing who after Night of Champions is the big question. So this was a chaotic one, but it was a lot of fun. It was very fast paced, very hard hitting, which I expected. Nakamura being opportunistic early and kind of avoiding action. A lot of times you have someone playing possum. He didn't quite play possum proper, but he picked his spots. While Cody and Priest and Andrade were just brawling outside of the ring. There was a really great moonsault to the outside by Andrade. There was a flying armbar from Nakamura that looked like it could have ended the match, which was a cool choice. And then there was a double suplex, not through the table, guys, through the Slim Jim table. My God. Nakamura had some late match rallying in this, but Cody was the one to take the win here, to the surprise of no one. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens next. Who are you guys thinking are going to win Queen and King of the Ring? I'm curious to know. Curious to know what you guys think. I'm going to say Jade. Not just any table, a licensed table. I feel like it could be Sammy. I don't think Cody needs it to get back to Cena. Unless they're going to give... This came up earlier today in my brain. You could give John Cena 18 titles. I don't love that idea. But they could have Cody win and then have John Cena win it back as a good guy. Roxanne and Cody, Sammy and Jade. Okay. Very cool. Cody and Asuka. I would love to see Asuka. I don't love that they spoiled her return in this, though. That wasn't great. That wasn't the best. Like, oh, in the tournament bracket, I was glad to see her little face pop back up. Some people saying Roxy, that would be fun. I wonder what she does at Evolution. What our dear Roxanne does. Because it felt like she was starting something with Liv, but it certainly feels like the tag champions are going to be facing the Bellas. So we'll see. We will see. Jules saying, I would love Sammy to get anything. He deserves it. He does. Long overdue. Long overdue. I was doing some fantasy booking on Monday with Alex Pulowski, and we had talked about, like, if Seth cashes in on a Gunther Sammy match, and then we have Seth holding the title, Sammy beating Seth, and then Braun beating Sammy, and Seth Rollins being like, nah, give me that title. And Braun being like, hell no. And there you go. That's the breakup of that faction. Not everything needs to last 3 years, guys. That's for damn sure. Man, under an hour. That feels egregious for a review that I'm doing. I needed Santos in this. I needed Cross in this. Yeah, I mean, an overall complaint I have in WWE, and I kind of have a similar one in AEW, is the upward mobility issues of repeat champions and top guys being the only ones that are in the top picture. Like, there is not a lot of breathing room. Like, it's just Punk, Cena, Orton, Cody, Gunther, Jay, Rollins, Rand. Did I already say Orton? I think I did. But there's like this top echelon. Drew was kind of in there for a while. But it's like, if you're not one of those guys, what are you doing? Like, there's no breathing room. And they're all like, look, I'm not younger than a lot of these dudes, but they're all like 37 and over. I just feel like they lean so heavily on the nostalgia crutch, and they don't, outside of Braun, man, on the men's side, not thinking about the future at all. I wish there were younger guys that were made to feel more important, and I wish there were, in general, more guys to be made to feel more important. Santos Escobar, if you watched him at Worlds Collide and you're not like, that guy's a megastar, why isn't he holding a title or near one? Like, I don't know what you're watching. Like, he's one of the most complete wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. He's so good. It would be nice. If they freshened it up. And on the AEW side too, this Hangman stuff is gangbusters, and I feel like the AEW product is very strong, but you're going from a 4-time champ likely to another 4-time champ, right? And on the women's side, the Tony and Mariah stuff was phenomenal, but it didn't leave a lot of room in the top of the card for other names. And then Mercedes is obviously on her belt collector run, which so many people are getting worked by. It's so funny. The amount of times, because I help out now with Fightful social media, the amount of times that I see like just like Mercedes Hogan. She has creative control. Like, man, she was a character when she was doing that interview. Like, if you don't see what's in front of you, like, I can't help you with that. I can't help you with that. Someone told me that the indies she's working are in her AEW contract. AEW told her to go show up in Austria this week. Whatever. I think it's a catch wrestling promotion that's in Austria that she did a surprise appearance and won the belt for. Like, yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's how that goes. I'm sure with CMLL and New Japan, because Forbidden Door is coming up, there's some cooperative work being done there, right? So, I just laughed to myself, and I roll my eyes because they didn't do it with Kenny and they didn't do it with FTR. It's only when it's a woman and a black woman at that, right? So there you go. Very silly stuff. Very silly stuff. We need to get her a promotion in the Arctic just to get her that belt. You know what I was thinking about? I saw a picture of her with her 5 belts on her. That young woman, Mercedes, is like 100 pounds soaking wet. Those belts are heavy. I was like, she's going to tip over if she collects too many more, man. She's going to be falling down. They're heavy belts. And she's like 100 pounds, maybe. My God. Very funny. Very funny stuff. Very funny stuff. Anything else to talk about on SmackDown? How are you guys feeling about Jacob Fatu? Absolutely rules. I'm ready for this to kind of fizzle out. But with Hikuleo being around now, do you guys think he's on Fatu's side, or do you think Hikuleo replaces Fatu in the new bloodline? I'm intrigued. Let me know what you guys think. I haven't decided yet. Normally I would be like, this is what I think. What are your thoughts? I don't know yet. Last I had heard, Hikuleo was supposed to go to NXT and get a push. So that didn't happen. Obviously. Tala Tonga did not debut yet. He was on Main Event. BattleBots questions, anyone? We'll be saving that for my YouTube channel, which is relaunching in 4 days. Monday of next week. I'm looking at my little content calendar plan. We're going to be doing some BattleBots watch-alongs. Heck yeah. Well, we'll wrap up. I was stalling to see if Sean was going to come on, but he's running from the grind. So. Yay, it's robot fighting time. It will be. It will be. My YouTube channel is at Miss Kayfabe. You can find me over there. But I was going to plug that in my wrapping up here. So I will say to subscribe to Fightful Select. We'll have news all weekend long. I know Sean's got some stuff that he's working on regarding trying to find out more about what we can kind of expect from some of our summer wrestling this upcoming sprint, man. We've got Evolution, we've got more Saturday nights main events, we've got NXT PLEs, we've got everything on the AEW side. So a busy one, but we've got Grapsity tomorrow, no Collision post show because we covered all of that on Wednesday. You can follow me at Miss Kate Fabe on social media and my YouTube channel. Looking forward to relaunching that sooner than later. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. These are fun to do, but we're going to get out of here. Have a safe and wonderful wrestling weekend. Watch New Japan Dominion if you're looking for some more wrestling to scratch your itch. Should be a fun one. We'll see you guys next week.